Chosen One!
Welcome to The Chosen One, a Star Wars Shatterpoint podcast. I am your host, Qui-Gon Din, and today we are joined by none other than Rogue Support's Dyzard. Today we are going to be talking
Hello.
we're going to be talking Mandalorians today and just having a little
Absolutely.
banter. This is the way.
I like banter, so I'm here for it.
How so? Have you been playing any Shatterpoint this week?
I actually had a really good game against Sarah Cruel yesterday, actually.
Ooh, Sarah Cruel will be joining me in August on my Road to Evergreen Open series. I'm also going to
That'll be
complete
exciting.
I'm also going to complete the Rogue Support Pokemon collection by going finally having Omnis on as well. So
That's
I will
the best
have
way to do it.
gotten the trifecta.
Absolutely.
So you're on the mall version of Mandos, right? Like mall armor still?
Yeah, I still think, and this is all personal preference. I think Mando is perfectly fine, but I still think for me, Maul is the superior build for armor.
I think it just depends on what you're going on. Maul, you get a lot more displacement, a lot more output with the double expose from her and armor. I think if you want to
Hmm.
play defensive Mandalorians, Mando's great, but I I have a love hate relationship with Paz. I finally dropped them. Um,
I think if you're gonna go defensive Mandos, here's a hot take for you. Ahsoka one is where you want to be.
I'm actually really been considering it just because that way I can play
Yeah,
Gar and Bo, and it's
exactly.
I love Mando. Don't get me wrong, he's like one of my favorite pieces in the game, but lately the trying to play defensive Mandos, it doesn't feel that good because the weakness in that list is your support's got 7 health. Everything else has 8 now. The break point is such a disadvantage for Mandos. I think that's their biggest
Yeah,
weakness. 7 health supports.
I think I think that's something you really want to focus on when you're discussing Mandalorians is because the biggest question comes up is do you take Clan Crees or do you take Super Commandos? And I think in the current state of things, yes, Clan Crees have the pushes, they have that magical tree, but the meta is like very much less kill right now. So that one extra health point actually makes them survive a little bit more when things are only punching for seven.
It's also
Um,
it's also the steadfast meta we're in right now. Everything in it, everyone and their mother has steadfast at the moment. So uh
Correct. And the cool thing about Super Mandos is the shove off of the expertise doesn't care about steadfast.
yep. And then so like my list, I'm currently still on Mando armor, but I've taken a backseat from Mandos. I'm on Rebels and Republic right now for my GT. I'm taking Luke.
Mhm.
I'm taking Jedi
Luke's
Luke,
fun.
so I'm kind of that will change if we get Rogue One stuff by August. We have no idea when we're getting that Rogue One box.
Yeah. Yeah, I think for me, like I was really excited about Bodhi and like what's coming with that box. But I'm better off getting more reps in with what I know I'll have access to versus speculating. So I think I'm actually more leaning into like just pretty much the same thing I played last year for my GT circuits, and that was primarily Mandos with a little bit of support to splash sideways.
Yeah, I'm on my Mace Mundi list. I have to play. I have to rep that list. That list is my favorite list in the game. You guys hear
Yeah,
about it all the time on the podcast on the Discord, but
absolutely.
but Mandos took me far at Adepticon, and they're probably going to be making my next Adepticon list just because I know how those boards are built, and I want Mandos when I'm playing at Adepticon
Well,
just because of the boards.
I think that's something very much worth noting is it's like if you're going Mandos, then it doesn't matter what the terrain layout looks like. If it's low on ladders, you don't care. If it's high on ladders, you don't care. Like you just have so much excess mobility compared to everything else that the terrain layouts are almost a non-factor for what you're doing when you're playing Mandalorians. Like, yes, it's still going to be a factor, but it's less of a factor than in other lists.
Yeah, like having 5 units that can just go, I'm gonna jump. And you can also save force. Like sometimes you just don't need to jump when you got like Bo Katan. Sometimes she just needs that dash off of her focus and she can get to where she needs to go. That's generally where I save my force on that one activation where you can't spend force. It's usually on Bo Katan.
Mhm.
Unless I needed to go after a back point. Because I try not
No,
to
that's completely
I
fair.
try not to separate her from Mandalorians. She wants that protection button steadfast bubble up. But
Oh yeah, no, it's so like that was like one of the biggest things. Like when I look at the game against Cruel, is it was he was able to spread out and do certain things, but every single time that he tried doing something into the protection steadfast bubble, he really needed something to get through, and Bo said, "Not today."
yeah, uh, but yeah, no. So on the discussion on Paz, do you think Paz is worth taking into current meta?
I man, okay, so I love Paz. I think Paz is an outstanding secondary. Paz's biggest issue is you can't play him with six force on the table. Like there's no way to do it. And he's very expensive. Now that being said, even if you're not utilizing his stuff to the max and you're just using him as an aggressive piece, he's very, very good. He has one of the best expertise in the game. With was it 3-on-1
Yeah.
or something like
It's
that?
3-on-1, and then
Like
2 to 3 gives him a crit, 2 hits, 4 gives him, I think, 3 crits or something like that.
yeah, so it's like one of the best expertise in the game just for pure numbers sake. Like if you're rolling 7 dice and you have one expertise, you just effectively rolled 10 dice.
It's
Um,
it's so good.
yeah, and he has shoves galore, pins, expose, strain, and good damage on it too. So his tree is insanely good, and he has the reach. And I think people sleep on the fact that he's just a good aggressor, and they just focus on the fact that he's a defensive piece because of his abilities. But if he's a defensive piece because of his abilities, but his attacks are aggressor, that just means he has everything. The only thing he doesn't have is he can't move himself, which is the biggest pain. But his tactic is so freaking good. Like
I
every time I play him, I'm like, God, why am I not playing him more? Because it's like I get more jumps. I spend less force because my Mandos don't need the jump anymore because they got it at the beginning of the game, or whenever I pulled Paz, I get to remove a condition, and that conditions hurt Mandos. If you want to beat up Mandos, you just condition stack them, and they have a hard time. So
I
it's like Paz is just so good for what he's doing, but he's in contention with overall generalistic stuff versus like focus stuff.
I think the biggest factor for him not being like a real meta presence right now is because of how the meta shifted. When it was Iden Vader meta, Paz, you had to play Paz, or you're not gonna be able to have a chance against Vader Iden at Adepticon. That like Paz was one of the reasons why I won so much. Everyone had to attack him. Everyone was spreading conditions through Iden, and him plus Mando gave you the output and gave you the clearing conditions so that way you can still play the game. We're in a meta right now where Paz is 50-50. He's either going to be really good in a matchup, or if he's playing up against like Kieta Mundi, you absolutely hate having Paz. Too much diceless displacement. I think I really like him, and it sucks because he's one of my favorite models. It's like I love
Yeah.
big bulking guy with a minigun, but it's rough. I've been playing him since the balance pass, and his effectiveness on the board is basically cut in half now, which
And see,
is
this is where I come with the whole entire thing. I think if you're playing Paz right now, you need to play him aggressive. You need to be jumping him forward with your other Mando. You need to be jumping, whether it be Bo or Gar. You need to be jumping him forward with armor. Any excess mobility you have needs to be moving Paz forward, so that way he can be the aggressor and just start one tapping people because he's that effective.
I
And then saying, if you want to come get this point, I'm gonna hit you back, and that is where he is. seeming right now for me is being an aggressive piece, not a defensive
I
piece.
I think the one list where you could probably see Paz is probably going to be armor with Luminara. Um, the
Hmm.
ability to get wounds and move Paz off of getting wounds, I think, is going to be the way to play Paz going forward. I think you need Lumi in there, which gives you access to take Gar, and you could just play
Yeah.
this really aggressive Mando list.
Well,
Um,
I think that's the biggest thing that you're missing with Mandos right now is one more secondary Mando that can move people. Because you got Gar, you got Bo. If you put Paz under armor, like you could absolutely run an anchor armor list. You can go Lumia, Ahsoka, Maul, and or Mando, any four of those, and you'd feel really good with your primary options. Where you fall short is going to be your secondaries.
yeah, we, we got Bo Katan, which is she's good. We got Sabine, and there is a world where Sabine's been getting better, but I really like Sabine with um, Lando in there, and you can put Sabine in Clan Kreese. Now you got this like you're playing with four force, but you have the ability to refresh
Yeah,
it at will. She can play there, and it works pretty all right. Like playing that pairing with Paz, you get the ability to move Paz off of Sabine, and Sabine
yeah,
getting fixed with the force economy on her really helps her out because the second she goes down, she's such a force tax.
yeah.
Because
I think I think the best place that I liked Sabine was under Luke. I really enjoyed playing Sabine under Luke, and it made Luke more mobile because she could pass her thing to move him.
yeah,
And that always felt really good. And now that Luke gives more to Rebels, or he gives something to Rebels now, she kind of likes that too. So I actually don't hate Sabine under Luke still, but again, I think Bodhi's going to take that place because before you were stuck with Lando Bar 2 if you were playing Luke,
I
and
think it
that doesn't mesh with
Yeah.
Mandos.
I think it depends on list. If you're still going Luke Kanan like I am, I still think you are gonna take Bar 2 in that list just because you want Ezra and you want Sabine. Just more specters for Kanan. I'm on Chopper with Bar 2 right now, and having the not getting shot when they're in the deck comes up every once in a while, but when you have both supports that can't be shot, it provides some interesting dilemmas for your opponent. Um, and I've been really liking Chopper lately. Chopper has been a monster. Again, one of the few units that can expose at will pretty much with his mayhem ability. And expose is such a nice thing to have in a game where AMG took expose away from most factions.
Yeah. Well, I think it also comes down to when you have a meta where people are playing the less aggressive stuff and they're playing the more like I'm not saying Kiadi's not aggressive or Anakin's not aggressive, but like I just feel like the time to kill in the game has drastically gone down. So when you're playing something that has two actions that can't be targeted, you kind of feel really good in into stuff that's not killing you as fast.
I also like Bar 2 with Luke right now just because, oh yeah, immunity exposed. They can up their dice now and not get exposed, which is
Yep.
come up a lot for me. So Luke's in a really good spot. I've been really liking his bubble. Really good against Empire and clones.
Yeah.
No
I think
ping is huge.
I I know it's not Mando related, but I do really hope Bodhi comes out before Nova because I would love to run Luke Han into Nova.
Oh, see, my issue with Luke Han is I still want that 3 point secondary under Luke or under Han, just so I can take base and turret. Like it means my list is probably going to look like Han, Bodhi, base, and turret, but I'll have Bodhi deployed in the area that's next on closer to Luke, so he can still dash Luke. But
Yeah.
then I can play Luke with Ezra and Bar 2, and I have like you got a mobility list that's really just fun. I got to do a lot of testing. I haven't played Bodhi yet, just because with
Hmm.
Jin, I found that Luke secondary is her best friend.
That's fair.
She really wants to be up the board before she activates. She like her tactic to get the 5 die attack. You either want phase and turret in position or you want her in position, and it's just so good. Uh, uh, she's Hunter 2.0 in my opinion. She plays a lot like Hunter from Bad Batch.
Yeah,
Um,
that's completely fair.
but no, on the Mando front, what's of the supports are you leaning towards as your favorite one? I'm definitely on the covert train. I think they're, in my opinion, top three support in the game. Um,
I think that there's no contest. I think the coverts are the best. Yes, they have 7 health, but they also have protection until you need them to go or you're forced to go with them. They have the best expertise. They got double shove on 3. They could do 5 damage on 3. Then the second one can do 6 damage on 3. They are one of the only supports that can kill Vader,
yeah,
like reliably.
yeah, especially when Vader
Or Anakin.
exposes him. Yeah, especially when Vader
Like,
exposes himself. Like when he
yeah.
Vader exposes
Like
himself, that first attack, you're gonna probably get 4 through. It's no joke.
yeah,
Um,
it's honestly kind of ludicrous that they can pump reliably 11 damage when they attack. It's
yeah,
insane. Like they're just really good. And again, like if you need damage, they could do damage. If you need conditions, they got strain and disarm. If you need mobility, they got that repo on 5, which they're probably gonna get there. Uh, like they literally have all the tools that you could ever want. And then when you're pairing them under armor, they're always only ever want at most 1 force.
yeah, and they're the one Mandalorian support that I play super aggressively because I want them up the board. I want them to have attack targets. Clan Kreese, I
Yeah.
will generally keep them back a little bit, playing the safe game. I'm not super aggressive when I play Mandalorians because I find, especially in the current game, that if you play them too aggressively, your supports just die, and when that happens, you're really having an issue. I like keeping Clan Kreese on the backbone when I'm playing them. I will play Red Mandos way more aggressively than I will Clan Kreese. Clan Kreese just kind of go down too easy.
Well, it's also like Red Mandos. If people tie him up, no mercy is still a thing. Like, and no mercy can tick damage rather well that people don't account for.
Yeah, and especially with this melee meta we're in, like it's well, it's not exactly a full melee meta, but it's definitely more melee than it was pre balance pass.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I'm loving the game state right now. I thought Mandalorians were gonna like automatically take off, but I think with the health updates to a lot of units, I think Mandos, they didn't get worse, but they didn't get better either. I think stuff's tankier now, so unless you're taking coverts, I don't the Mandalorians just do not have enough punch to get through some stuff. Like I don't want to take Mandos into Obi-Wan unless I have Gar. If I don't have Gar Saxon, I do not want to play against an Obi-Wan match.
And that's why I think if you're playing anything that has Mandalorian in it, you're probably playing Gar right now because Republic is so high and Obi will be there. And this is another reason why I love Maul and or Mando because Mando kind of does similar. Because Maul will always be great into Galactic Republic.
Yeah. I think I'm with you though. Like I saw on the Discord is like you don't want people taking primary Luke because you like your Mandos.
Yeah.
That kind of takes away Armor Maul's trick of exposing when Luke says no.
You're not wrong.
uh no, but no, are there any other primaries that you would like off the wall primaries you think Maul or Mandos would work with? Like I know we got Ahsoka 1, but there's been some
Mhm.
talk about Fulcrum and like
So I'm torn on that one. That's another spot where Sabine's actually like really good. Is taking Sabine under her. Um, and I think if you want to run a Mando anchor, then she comes into talk. But it's like if you're running Maul, why would you run her? Because they kind of perform the same role where they're like the aggressor.
yeah.
Um, so it turns into a contention piece, and Ahsoka 1 is just more beneficial to the list as a whole than she is. So I have a hard time with her because Ahsoka 1 says Yeah, but I have more tricks.
Yeah, me and my brother, we have Fulcrum. We've been playing her. We have not been impressed. She's the her problem is that her offense is basically the same as Ahsoka one, and she looks like on paper like she wants to kill things, but she just doesn't do it.
Yeah. Um, I I think people haven't unlocked her yet. I've had a lot of fun with her, and but she's just not what I want to play. I I just think that it's gonna take time, and then eventually she'll be just annoying
Yeah.
people.
Like I've been more impressed with Vader 3 out of that box. Vader 3 he's been good. But no, one off the cup pairing that I've been definitely looking at, it's definitely been CAD with Armorer.
Yep.
Just because you can take Shakti, she can move a good chunk of your Mandalorians. And then you can play red Mandos with them, and you got this extra force, you got the force refresh. That's one place where I'm like, oh, this is where I could take Paz, possibly, just
Hmm.
because I got Cad Bane. Um, but other than that, I haven't done a lot of testing. Like, there's been some primaries that are come out that I'm like, oh, I could put Fisto with Mandalorians and try that out and have this really sticky primary to go along with armor. So it's like I got these fast primaries. And then I go, yeah, but why not just take Maul?
Yep. That's kind of like a lot of like where my decision points come down to. I will say though, like back to like the cat thing, I was testing CAD with Armor last year, and I was always like, man, if CAD could do something else here, or have more mobility, and like, or have another force, and then like Shock T came out, right? So Shock T with CAD is great because Shock T can also move all of the Mandos in the Armorer box, um, which is amazing because they're all the mercenary.
Yeah, I still swap in that list. I still swap out Paz. I'm still playing Bo Katan in that list.
I think that's completely fair. I think if you don't have at least Bo or Gar, then you're going to be hurting. Like you need one of them.
Yeah.
So and that's why it's always best just to put Bo with armor because then you always have the one piece that you need because it just makes the list seem more. Um, but like, I do love Cad. I think Cad's a great shout, and I think people, if they want to play a very more aggro armorless, Cad armor with Shock T and Bow, you could put Gar in there instead of Bow if you want. But it's a really fun list, and armor is now able to hit 11 damage, which now turns her into an absolute beast.
Yeah.
Um, and then you have the force refresh where the coverts are like, cool, I'm gonna get us a force back. So you're not afraid to jump with them. You're not like you're just pressing the gas the whole game, and it's a lot of fun. If you want to play an aggressive armor, Cat is definitely a good choice to do it with.
And more jumps. Like
More jumps.
I've been really liking CAD with Cassian. It's like the one Cassian list I actually like. I'm not a
That's
fan.
fair.
I'm not a fan of Andor. I like the show. I like the character. Just not my playstyle as a piece.
That's fair. I think if you're looking for like other things to pair with armor, um, Hondo is actually also not bad. It's just you have the issue of like what you're taking under Hondo.
Yeah,
Um, but it's not bad. I think Moff Gideon is a good choice if you need more control. But honestly, one of my favorites to pair with armor still has to be Mother Talzin.
such a good list. Such a good list. I've played it. It's really good. Um,
Yep, because it's nasty. Because she only needs Gar. Like you put Gar under her or Bo, and then she takes Night Sisters, and then Mother Talzin's an absolute hoss, and she's just slaying fools left and right because she's really got really efficient dice, and she's also very defensive efficient. And then you also have control with her manipulating hand, and then you have arguably one of the, I would say, top three revenge abilities in the game.
yeah, uh, generic revenge is so good with a gun, and her and like Charming Leia, in my opinion, are just so good at what they do because they have strong activations on their turn and
Mhm.
they have good revenge triggers. Like,
And that and that leads into the last one I would like to recommend, and that'd be Leia. Like PLC is probably just also just a slam dunk pick to run with armor.
yeah, Charming Leia, Sabine, and you take freaking Clan Grease with them, and boom, you got mobility.
Mhm.
Leia gets to move any character. Her tactic gets to move Bo Katan or Sabine up the board, and Sabine gets to move Leia around. So you got mobility there, and you got a. I
Well,
haven't.
that's like a place where Sabine actually like makes sense to run because instead of having your secondary able to move a Mando, Leia can do it. So you're at least getting that utility that you're usually looking for in Bo and Gar, but you're getting it on Leia instead of the secondary. So you're actually more free to take Sabine if you really want to play Sabine.
I'm gonna have to try. I haven't tried that combo out yet. I'm gonna have to try that. That's actually sounds kind of spicy. I love
It's
PLC.
really good.
She's PLC is my like
Yeah,
top three
like
farm areas that I like.
if I were to do like an armor anchor list, it'd probably be armor mall PLC and God, I'm still torn on the last one because I go left and right with it.
I mean, you could go
You could do
Mando. Yeah,
anybody.
you could do
You
Mando.
could go Mando. It's probably just Mando because then you can go Mando PLC if you need to.
Yeah, and Mando could just you just take Dengar with him, and you take a generic support like Weakways or something, and you got a
Yeah.
really steadfast board now. I still like
Well, now the
Mando.
crazy thing about that is you just go Mando Mall into GR.
He,
Like you have your DR counter right there. Like
it's so good. Like
yeah.
I've been doing a weird kind of had a weird idea of I want to take my Mace Crosshair 501st and I want to put that with Mandos because I want to put that with like Ahsoka 1, Gar, and Super Commandos, and now I have two secondaries that just say no to Obi-Wan.
Fair. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's probably what I would do. If I was going to a GT tomorrow, that is probably what I would do would be Mando, Armor, PLC, Mall.
You get your revenge because there are still a few attrition lists out there. It's mainly going
Yeah.
to be IG-88 lists. I think at the moment that's the one list that's pushing out wounds more than any other. I think
Yeah.
Iden is still very good, and like Iden Vader is still a really aggressive list, but Iden can flub now way more consistently. She's killing the 8 health supports like at a 50% of the time now. It's not, oh, I get hash dice, they're just gonna die. It
Yeah.
she's with the 8 health, the breakpoint, she's wounding in one turn a lot less likely now compared to what it was
This is
before.
true.
Um, we've been putting her, we like her more as a speed scoring piece rather than trying just to kill everything on the board. Would you ever consider Thrawn with armor?
I tried it. It can't the force cost is too much. You can't run that with 4 force because the refresh doesn't happen when you want it to. So I've tried it. It's fine, but you leave yourself up to like RNG just ruining your game.
I'll say if we ever get Imperial Mandalorians,
Yes.
Iden with armor would be freaking scary.
You're not wrong.
There's your attrition Mando list.
You're not wrong. Yeah,
Well,
because you could go armor, bow, covert, Leia, Sabine, Clan Kreese, Maul, Gar, supers, and then Mando is left with stuff that you want to take into GR probably.
yeah. Or stuff that like, oh, I just need steadfast and I don't want you taking me off points. Dengar's really good. Dengar also fixes Mando's biggest problem, pulling him early.
Yeah,
That's the biggest reason
that's
why
true.
in that Mando list I have switched to Dengar over Paz in that pairing. I still love it,
That is fair.
but the meta's not aggressive enough for me to really want to take Mando at the moment. I think Mando's going on the bottom swing of people are still going to take him, but I think he's getting taken less and less just because of if you're going to play a revenge trigger, just play Kanan and like or Andor at this point.
Yeah,
Mando,
or Ahsoka one.
yeah, Ahsoka one's really good. I love uh the expertise bubble she gives. Like it's so relevant.
Yes,
Um
it's stupid.
but the Mando, I've been seeing him do less and less in the meta state. He he used to be probably the best revenge trigger. Now I'm like, he's kind of got one of the worst ones now.
Well, it's like the biggest thing about Mando is like he struggles to push damage. And you kind of need him to push damage now because he's not getting as much from his revenge triggers as he used to. It used to be you'd get probably 2 to 3 moves a cycle with Mando for his revenge trigger, and now you might get one,
Yeah,
maybe two,
and it's
and
generally
they'd be
when it yeah.
impactful.
And yes, he has diceless displacement, but so does Maul. But Maul can be super proactive, and I think in this current meta, you need to have the ability to be proactive because of first contact. First contact
Yeah,
existing in the game, you can't play super revenge into first contact without having some way of being proactive. Kanan can be very proactive. It's why he works on any map. He gets to go, oh, if I need to be a speed demon to get across the map, score back point, I can. First contact, mobility is more important to first contact than even uh, never tell me the odds. And it's just because
yeah,
the points can flip on a dime. Like
yeah.
a lot of people don't like first contact. I love it. I think it's one of the funner games. You just have to know you're probably going to go into time.
I just feel like it's just a game that you need to be prepared for. Like you said, like you need to know you're going to be cutting it close, and there's a lot more going on, so it's a lot more mentally draining. Which, if you're in a big event, you kind of don't want that.
Yeah. Uh, or you can use it to take a competitive edge because right now everyone is taking sabotage or shifting. It's the most common missions being taken. So it's kind of like when Never Tell Me the Odds first came out, where it wasn't being taken as much, and then all of a sudden people start winning with it, and now everyone was taking it. That
Yeah,
pre-balance pass. I I even chose Never Tell Me the Odds, and I brought Sabotage because I'm like in Adepticon I was playing against Jedi and I had Mandos, and I'm like, he picked Never Tell Me the Odds. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna pick that map. We flipped the X, and Paz loves the X. He had 6 injured
oh yeah,
tokens on him. It was great.
it's a good time.
But nah, Paz, I think, like you said about Mother, I think Paz is very matchup dependent. Um,
Hmm.
I think he's a very strong piece, but he wants stuff attacking him to get the full effect out of his kit. You can play him super aggressively, but his speed is the biggest issue. He kind of becomes like Anakin, where he's a hyper carry, and you're building your list to really use Paz rather than what Mandos kind of want to do right now, where they want to be consistent across the board. It's kind of the issue I have with Mando at the moment. Mando's not consistent without stuff getting wounded. You can't really
I
do
agree,
much. But
which is sad, but it is what it is.
yeah, I think Mandos are still in a really good spot. I still stand by my hot take that Mandalorians are the best jack of all trades list, master of none. I think they
I
can
agree with
do it.
that. I definitely agree with. I think Mandos is still like a top tier meta pick. I wouldn't say S tier, but definitely like top of A. They're up there,
I don't
and they're
think
something that you should be prepared for if
I
you're going to a GT.
I don't think there is an S tier meta pick, except for maybe Kieta Mundi, just because of how good Mundi is doing in any pairing right now.
Yeah,
But even then, I love the current game we're in. Like everything feels where it should be, except poor separatists.
wait, they don't exist right now.
Yeah.
Sadly,
Wait till Rift Hampson. Those aqua droids are going to be something fun. I can't wait to see what they do. And
I hope
then
so. I hope they give them what they need. So
I
that's
want them
the
to be
big
I want
want
them to
right
be a
now.
5 cost support. I,
Hmm.
I want that. I want that. Or the Aqualish secondary to be 3 points because then it'll also open Dooku build list building more.
That's
Which
true.
I don't think Dooku's a bad piece. I just don't think he brings enough right now. And I think it's not really that the Separatists are bad. It's that it's an arid desert, dry spell. They haven't had a
Well,
release.
yeah, they
And
just don't have enough tags.
then the one unit they did have got freaking nerfed. Magna guards. Uh,
Yeah.
but no. Any final thoughts on Mandalorians before like we cut it off? I guess. I still think they're the king of mobility. They make their own ingress. They don't need it. Jumps are out of the way.
Yeah, no, I think that we covered a lot of stuff. If you're playing Mandos right now, you're probably in a good spot.
Yep. We just need to. They just need to give us pre-Vizsla at this point.
Yeah, I would love Previsla in the game because then I can actually run my pure Mando list that I want.
Yeah, give me some dark saber Mandalorian stuff because I'd like that. I'd also like a Mando secondary, like Din Djarin with the spear. I want him with the Beskar spear as a secondary. Give me that Mando, and I'll be very happy.
I agree.
All
Yeah.
right. Well, this has been The Chosen One, a Star Wars Shatterpoint podcast. Thank you for coming on, Dyzard. It was a
Of
pleasure.
course.
And remember, this is the way. Thank you for watching this episode of The Chosen One, a Star Wars Shatterpoint podcast. If you want to catch the next video, you can watch the one linked above, or you can just go and listen to the podcast on the playlist below. Please like and subscribe. Thank you for your support.